This is Let's Talk Business with your hosts, Marc Ebinger and Heather Boehme. Now, here's Marc.
Welcome to Let's Talk Business, a show that talks entrepreneurship with some of the best businesses in the San Antonio area. Coming up on the show today, we're going to talk with Luis Vega Trevino, a local artist who runs Luis Vega Trevino Artist as a company. Luis, welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for letting me be here.
You bet. Howie Nestella introduced us,
Yes,
right? He said,
yes.
How do you know Howie anyway?
So Howie, through all the different charity events I've donated to for art, it's basically it's been about 10, 12 years that I've known him with, trying to think of the different corporations that we one of them was for the Children's
Rehabilitation Institute? Yeah.
And then there was another one that had to do with the Jewish Community Center.
Cool.
And then we know a lot of different people that I've sold artwork to.
I know he was excited to introduce us, and I'm glad you made it on the show.
Yeah, I mean, I love the guy. He's,
All right, settle down.
Yeah, he has that energy. He just has that energy. Like he just
does.
lifts you up, and
He's constantly going. He's always on social media, doing his thing. So I love it. All right, this is not the Howie show, okay? But yeah, that's a great connection. We're also going to talk with George Saldana, the owner of Even Flow Home and Commercial Services. He's a master electrician. So there's 4 different divisions of your company. So HVAC, electrical, plumbing.
Yeah, HVAC, electrical, plumbing, and generators.
And then you're looking at also solar, right?
Yes. So we just signed a contract with Briggs & Stratton, so we're going to be one of their larger battery backup solutions dealer. And tied with that is you need to have solar to recharge the batteries. So a lot of these solar companies out there that they're way overpriced when it comes to solar and battery backup. Wow. So we're about to open our solar division. Hasn't gone live yet, but hopefully within the next 30 to 60 days, our solar division will go live. So we'll be the first service company in the state of Texas to offer electrical, plumbing, HVAC, generators, solar, and battery backup solutions all under one roof, not have to sub it out. So that's how that's how we will be able to cut costs for customers, because at the end of the day, we want to give the best quality service, best customer service at affordable prices, because things have gotten outrageous in price.
They have, and I think it's going to continue to get worse, you know what I mean? And when you run a company that's a pretty good size, I know employment issues or something else we'll probably get into a little bit today, but that kind of helps, right? And so I'm really excited about what you've got going on and to talk about it, because you guys are growing fast and smart. Also, let's see, in studio with us today, as always, is Heather Boehme, a certified business coach, who's my business coach, who's brought, just amazing levels of clarity on issues that I've tried to tackle. She could turn a negative into a positive just like that, and we're like, wow, I had no idea. And not only that, but my wife, she's kind of a marriage counselor as well. So
Oh, my
it works
God.
really well.
Yeah,
with that. I'm not trying to sell her services on the marriage counseling, right? But Heather, it's always a pleasure to have you.
Great to be here. I got a whole new job description now.
Sometimes a marriage counselor, right? I'm your host, Marc Ebinger, the owner of Crükus Marketing Agency, a company that specializes in giving small businesses a competitive edge by hiring low-cost administrative and social media experts from outside the United States. This is how I built my company. I know it works. I'm a product of the service, or my service of the service. I don't really know. But anyway, it works really, really well. So if anybody's interested in that, it's definitely good to have a 15-minute consultation with me to figure out how that can work for you. A quick reminder for our listeners, you can catch video and podcast versions of the show anytime by visiting our website at satalkradio.com. And if you are a local business owner in the area, or maybe you want to drive and come to San Antonio and be on the show, you can reach out to our office at 210-960-8210 or go to satalkradio.com to apply to be a guest on the show. I'd love to have you. I always like talking entrepreneurship. So, Heather, you were on vacation. You left me for a whole week. I was lost. What were you doing anyway?
We went and visited my sister up in Nantucket and just spent a week parenting in a different location, and it was very fun.
Did you actually disconnect from work, or were you still working?
I was fairly disconnected. I kind of bunched everybody up. I did my coaching calls with a few clients on Monday and then pretty much logged off except for answering a few key emails throughout the week. So it was a nice, honestly, I thought it would be something where I was like really going to love being off, but I feel weirdly disconnected now. Like I had a flow going and now I'm like, okay, I got to get back in my flow. Because it was weird.
Well, that's how it works for me. It's like I don't like taking vacations. I'm not at that point right now where I relax on vacation. It's like I want to work. I relax at home. You know what I mean? I love
when I know
what
everything
I do.
is done.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's the thing too is I have worked really hard, and most of the people I interact with, we're all working to create a life we don't need a vacation from. So it didn't feel like, oh my gosh, I need this vacation. It was, I'm excited to go spend time with my sister and uninterrupted time with my kids, which was a joy, but it's nice to be back and getting back in the swing of things.
How do you disconnect, George? I mean, with 40 employees and your company's
don't.
growing quick. So, but you have to at some point, like, even if it's a day, like I try and take Saturday where I'm not answering my phones, I'm not doing anything. Sometimes I'll cheat a little bit, but do you take a day out of the week where you really
Sunday. I recently got back into church, so Sunday is a family day. I try not to answer the phones. I have my phone on me because the way I look at it is right now, my company being a newer company, we're only about 5 years old, so it's still a baby. It's an infant, and I got to be there for them, and that's part of leadership. You got to be there for all my team, but most of the time, my team is so well developed now that I've noticed in the past year's time frame, I've had less and less calls on the weekend. They try not to bother me as much as possible. Good. So the time they do call me, it's because it is an emergency situation. But most time they have it handled because my guys, I try to train that don't come to me with a problem, come to me with a solution.
Or definitely have the solution in your pocket ready to go. And if you come to me, otherwise it's complaining.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? I don't like that. But so what I have found is when it comes to taking a day where I can really maybe focus on other things like family stuff and trying to disconnect as much as possible, like going to Schlitterbahn for half the day and then hanging out with wife, doing stuff around the house, whatever, to give myself that mental break, that bandwidth break, helps me plug back in the next day. So I found that one day off works for me. What about you, Lewis? Do you unplug?
I try my best to go bike riding at night to kind of release any kind of stress. So during the day, I'm just focused on work and spending studio time. But it's not all the time. There's times where I step out of the studio and get kind of, calm down, and then go back into the studio, close the door, and just start focusing on the work. So
love it. All right. Well, speaking of Lewis, let me introduce you first. Yes. First up on the show is Luis Vega Trevino, who owns Luis Vega Trevino Artist. You support local artists. I know you've been in the community a long time. You do some nonprofit and other stuff. But so let's back up let's start at the beginning here. How did you get involved in the whole artistry community? I'm guessing you're an artist.
Yeah, so I guess many, many years ago, I actually worked for an architecture firm, but I was still on the side, still had studios around downtown, and I was always involved with the art community and trying to use my, influence back then, just doing small shows. I was connected with the Guadalupe Cultural Arts back in the 90s. And then one thing led to another, and I quit the job. I signed a contract with a carpet company in New York, and then I just started my own studio. And that was when I was like 28 years old. Now I'm 51, so it's been...
Still
I've
young.
been doing it. Well,
Very young.
I've been doing it for a long
you're
time.
like a baby almost.
Well, but it's a business for me. This art is not. It's not a hobby. It's not like, it's a business. And so I've been being in business this long.
Yeah, let's break that down. What's the difference?
Absolutely, because you always hear starving artists, and I feel like so many people, especially nowadays with TikTok and everything, they see, they're doing their art and they're putting it out there, but it's probably not a business.
So that's a good
often.
point, though. I remember I started this business when there was no social media, there was no Instagram, there was no Facebook, and so I had to really go out there and hustle and go to different cities and getting galleries in Florida, getting galleries in Dallas and New York, and it was all kind of hard to the.
There's a grind to it.
There's a grind, and so I could easily have given up years ago because it wasn't giving me money right away, and I had a family. I had 2 daughters to support back then. Now they're grown up, but it was difficult. It was very difficult, but I didn't give up. I stuck to this.
What's a key factor in the difference between being a starving artist and being a success? How do you make money at it? What's the deal there?
Well, the thing is that you build up sort of like you build up an inventory of this work. So if you don't have an inventory, then how do you bring in clients or people that maybe have businesses like hotels or law offices are like, we need artwork for our facility, or a BMW dealership that I did back in the day in Fort Worth, stuff like that, where it just, you got to have inventory in your studio.
So what do you mean by inventory?
You got to have a studio, which eventually I build up to a big studio. I have like an inventory of work. I have stuff that I can easily pull out. And this is back before you could have an iPhone to take pictures. This is when...
No print
This
on
is
demand.
Like, so this is way back. I'm just saying how I started.
Was the wheel invented?
And
how back are we going here?
but let me tell you though, here's the thing. I make all my canvases. I make all the geometric shapes, circles, triangles, trapezoids, parallelograms. That wasn't even thought of back then. Like as far as, just being a starting artist, you always go to Hobby Lobby or some store you buy. a canvas.
Question: when you say inventory, so you have different types of paintings. So let's say my company, I want to come in there, I want to decorate a certain way.
Yeah.
I can tell you what I'm looking for. And
Yeah.
Okay, I have inventory of this type
color
of
or this type of work, or you know what, Louis, I have one. I need a painting that's 8 feet by whatever, and I have a lot of that.
Gotcha.
But even if I don't have that, I can always plug into. He can come to my studio. He can actually see a canvas that size. Whereas if you're just an artist, and the thing is now with technology, it makes it even easier. So there's no such thing. I guess like you said, starving artists. There is young artists that just are not educated, or they're just starting out. They don't have that. They don't have that studio or that place to bring clients to, or to actually show something.
Are you using social media to showcase what you're doing?
Oh yeah, but not like, I do it in small chunks. The napkins. I have 70,000 of these cocktail napkins with all these unique designs and patterns, and I slowly just
put
them out there.
So tell me about your cocktail napkins. Who's buying these kinds of things?
So the designs. Well, I've sold some to hotels, and I have work in Dubai. I have work all over the place. And some of these cocktail napkins were actually used for carpet design. And that's what I'm kind of, my latest thing is to have my own name, my own company, and my own carpet. These are just samples, but these are actually carpets, designs that were made from a 5x5 cocktail napkin, which you can get at a bar, or lounge.
Where would they be using the carpet? And I'm guessing it's not just a small square, but it's like you're laying.
Yeah, these are just small
hallways.
You could do hallways.
Event rooms.
You could do hotels, casinos. There's sky's the limit,
So
and then private too.
what's unique about being an artist is, it's all your brainchild. It's your creativity.
Yes.
But you're also operating in a space where not everyone values that creativity at the same level. So I would imagine you had to go out and find those people who are huge fans of you.
I'm
What
glad
would
you
that
brought
look
that
like?
up, because there was times where people were reluctant to have art. I've gone into businesses, even my friend that owns an electrical company, I've gone into a law office where they're like, no, we don't want art. But then I put up the artwork and I leave it there for a couple of months, and then I take it away.
Oh
and
my
they're
gosh,
just like,
that's a great.
and they're
sales
blown away.
tactic.
Yeah, it's a sales tactic, and I don't charge them anything. I bring the artwork, and next thing you know, they're calling me like, Louis,
That's like the
we
puppy
need a
trial.
couple of these paintings.
Yeah.
Those colors were giving us this, it's like love. It's like love on the wall. And you talk about religious, there's spiritual aspects of color, and people want to have a peaceful environment, especially for your employees. So those are just key.
So who's your, as far as when it comes to getting exposure for your carpet?
Yes.
Who are you looking to connect with?
Well, unfortunately, before COVID, I had these samples, and I haven't found the same quality. I'm still looking for the same quality that they made these before COVID,
You
and
lost
so
your
that's where I'm
carpet
kind of
vendor.
stuck. And I'm
So you need
hopefully
a
I'm going to find.
manufacturer.
I need a manufacturer and someone that's going to do this quality, and then do it where, like, if you're a customer, you came and you found one of these designs online on my website, and you picked that design, that the turnaround to make this would be quickly and the quality would be efficient.
Are you searching on LinkedIn?
I've looked on LinkedIn. The problem is I don't want to go too far.
Outside of San Antonio or what?
Well, no, I don't want to go too far out of like. I want to be able to keep it in my budget, because I found some that are just so expensive just to do
Right.
samples, and I just got to find that niche. I don't know. Maybe somebody can help me find this.
Well, business coach might be able
If
to
you're
help with that. I
listening,
don't know.
yeah. I'm trying to think, because what is your ideal client's budget range for art?
Well, in matter of fact, there is that I've come to learn over the years is that sometimes they have their own budget. They just don't know how to plug it in. Like, they have a budget for art. They just don't know. They're not educated to say, okay, we have X amount of dollars. Let's start off with that, and then it builds up.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, and it really makes a difference for companies to have art in their office or carpet or anything like that. It really, you just got to sell that to them, and then it goes from there.
So that's an interesting point because you kind of have to sell them on the quality versus the cost because this is not TJ Maxx art.
Exactly. It's not that you're buying it at a poster shop or something, you know.
So
beyond quality is also the effect that the design has on you emotionally. On if you're looking to represent yourself at a higher level, like even a podcast studio, right?
Exactly.
I mean, I would imagine that you could probably do something amazing with the carpet in here to give it a whole different feel. And maybe even wall art as well. This is okay, but I mean, I bet you could probably take
it
that
helps
to
with your stress level for your employees and for your clients that come into your space. You're going to do a presentation. You would like to have not just bare walls. You would have to have some kind of color, something that just
communicates the love.
It flows easy.
Yeah, flows easy.
So what is
even
that?
Flow.
What is that kind of sale?
Wait a minute.
Plug.
So it is. Boom.
Perfect timing.
We were talking about how these are like totally opposite businesses, but they're not.
They're not.
They're not.
No,
It flows.
When it comes to like quality, you're saying about quality and price. Outsider looking in, the niche you're looking for, you're going to be a higher end customer.
Exactly.
You don't look for about price. It's about quality, and because it's unique.
Yep.
And you'll get that small clientele that will. And once you land one customer, it's like wildfire. They tell all their friends that have money, hey, this is one-off carpet, no one else. A lot of people that have money want the fancy car, the fancy wash that no one else has. Well, I have the carpet that no one else has. So don't be looking too much as in you're trying, I think from what I'm hearing, is you're trying to cover everyone's budget. You shouldn't. You have a small niche. You're unique. Take that professionalism. Take that I am an artist, and you're going to pay what it takes to get it done right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No cut corners in quality, and don't try to find a company that, hey, I can produce for cheaper. At the end of the day, whoever's going to pay for that carpet will pay top dollar. You just got to find the right clientele.
And Lewis, what is your? My understanding is that's kind of your clientele anyway. Is people who aren't asking about money pricing, or are they asking about pricing?
Well, it just depends. I mean, obviously, if you have this kind of quality where it's 80% wool, 20% nylon,
it's gonna last.
I can see the texture difference.
Because I'm just giving
here.
a little bit of a. I could easily go get these printed onto, like, real easy and make a lot of money, like you said, and just sell them to even the wealthy people. Sell them to everybody. Sell them to.
I kind of like that plan actually.
You could do that, but
I can make a
but
lot
it
of
waters it down in the sense that
it lowers the value.
Yeah,
of
like
it.
this could last hundreds of years, even because the quality. It's like, and that's what I'm looking for. And maybe, like he said, maybe I just have to just bite the bullet and spend the money to
go after that niche.
Yeah,
Well,
that niche.
My thought is like you've done this for decades now, so you've found those clients before, I'm sure, who just recognize the quality of your work. And I was just up in Nantucket where it's billionaire city, and they don't buy stuff unless it's one of a kind.
Exactly.
But if you were talking to a newer artist and they don't have that experience, what would you advise your younger self to do to put yourself in front of the right people?
Exactly. And I think my younger self would probably utilize the social media more.
Absolutely.
And find those
top of mind.
companies.
Yeah.
Find those companies that I can just, like you said, hire, get this going, and just be more efficient. And I think that's what I need to do now because I'm older and I need to learn from.
Well, it's targeting the right. One of the things that is, since we're doing shameless plugs, one of the things that my social media team does is we actually go out when we're talking to our clients, say, hey, who's your ideal person you're looking for, right? And then we actually build a list out. So part of the social media is connecting with the right people and then staying top of mind. It includes things like email, direct mail, phone calls. I mean, it's a whole complete system. It's not just social media, but it's about finding the person you want to be in front of and then looking at every opportunity to get in front of them, whether it's social media or other modes of communication. So,
well, and real quick, looking at it a different way, what I found a lot with my creative clients is they produce a super high quality product and they want to sell to those higher income people, but there's some kind of disconnect when it comes to just asking for the price the product deserves. Do you find that sometimes like it's going to be a couple $1,000s instead of being like, yeah, it's a couple $1,000, buy it or not?
Yeah, you got to own it, man. You got to own your pricing.
Yeah, how do you navigate that?
In the beginning it was hard. Now that like I said, now I can say, okay, this painting's $12,000, and there's no problem.
Yeah.
But with this product, it's a little different. It's new. It's a product that's like he was saying, you don't, like I'm trying to get to figure this out. Like I'm trying to figure out the pricing for this. So let's say I do spend a lot of my money in investing in this. How am I going to get that return?
Well, you have to. It's marketing.
Yeah,
it's getting
it's
in front
like-
of the right people and
Yeah.
saying, "Hey, you want the best?"
I don't
or
know
not?
that. I want to learn that.
That'd be interesting.
This
to
is a
explore,
new
because even a
thing.
ruggable, those
Yeah.
that's what I got because I got kids. I'm not going to let them pee and poop on that pretty carpet there. But it's like $450 to $600 for
Oh,
an
yeah.
8x10 rug
For a
on
basic
ruggable.
rug.
That's
for
like-
super
yeah.
basic that it's this thin.
Yeah,
and
yeah. And
you
it's
pull
probably
it up,
printed
shove it
on,
in the
yeah.
washer, and then it's
Yeah.
impossible to get down. So, I mean, you probably shouldn't be investing in a nice rug unless you can spend some dime on it.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe try that route first. Try the rug route versus a whole room of carpet.
Carpet.
And because that might be more. Because
And it's a
it's like a painting.
lower
You know,
commitment. You
floor.
can roll up a rug and take it with you if you move, but you cannot take up a whole room of
That's
carpet.
a really
true.
good
That's
point.
true.
A throw rug kind of a concept.
Yeah.
We got to wrap it up
Okay,
there,
yeah.
though. So, Lewis,
Yes.
great conversation, man.
Thank you.
Enjoyed the talk. If people want to get in touch with you, how do they do that?
They can go to my website, lewisvegatrevino.com, or they can find me on Instagram and Facebook. And so
What's your Instagram profile handle?
I've just Louis Vega Trevino.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
It's his name, people.
I'm going to
Google
seek it out right after this.
I'm
if
too. I'm
not
going to follow
already
you on
following
Insta.
All right, thanks a lot, Lewis. I appreciate
you.
it. All right, next up on the show is George Saldani, the owner of Evenflow Home and Commercial Services. He's a master electrician, and are you a master at the plumbing and everything else too? or
No,
just the
no,
electrician?
just the electrician
Call him
part.
Why
Titan
just
of
one?
all the
Can't you
home
have all
services
four?
industry.
Again, that's another 30 years of schooling.
Yeah.
I would love to be a master of all, but when I first opened, my goal was I want to become a master of everything, and that's what my original goal was. And then as I started developing this company, I was like, wait a minute, I can do more with less. Let me hire the right people. Let me put them in the right spots. Let me help them change their life, not just as an employee. Let them have true buy-in, true leadership. They're a part of this company, and that's why my team has been so successful in such a short period of time.
Well, and that's where you're excelling. You're a master at business building.
Yes,
Where did
in
you-
the industry, home industry trades.
and I did not know that. It
kind of manifested
Yeah.
as you went along.
Yes, sir.
Let me get a couple of accolades out of here. So you have over 1,000 5-star reviews in under 5 years. So congratulations on that. That's not an easy task in the home
That's
services
amazing.
industry. So one of the highest ranked service companies in San Antonio, ranked number 2 according to what?
that new the San Antonio Best of San Antonio. They did the best restaurants, they did the best of everything, and when they did HVAC, we got voted. Took second place, and I'm not proud of second place. My father always told me second's the
good.
first to
First
lose.
loser,
But
yeah.
then when everyone's like, George, your HVAC division's been open for 2 years, so for 2 years to dominate that industry, which HVAC, as you know, in San Antonio, Texas, when it's 104 degrees outside, there's an AC company on every corner.
Absolutely.
So to basically jump into that market not knowing anything about HVAC, because I'm not an HVAC technician, and to build the right team to get that many 5-star reviews and get second place, that means a lot. So next year, I hope to be first in every division in San Antonio.
It's a good goal to have.
Wow.
And, of course, the last thing is you guys are the only service company that specializes in electrical, plumbing, HVAC, generators, backup solutions for both residential and commercial applications. Did I miss anything?
No, now solar.
And
so
now
we're
solar,
going
that's
into
right.
solar because we found that, I basically opened up. Let me start at the beginning. My end goal is to have a service company that solves every need a customer can have, from anything from window cleaning to electrical to anything in between.
Wow.
Right now, I wanted to start with the basics, your main services, your electrical, plumbing, and HVAC. And then as I grew that, I found that generators, when the power went out, a couple of years ago, that was huge.
Mm-hmm.
I'm now the largest Cummins independent dealer because a lot of my competitors sell Generac, which is. It is what it is. I'm not going to go there, but it's not quality. It's a main brand, but they do a really good job marketing, but their equipment itself is not that great. So I've aligned my company. Part of the 5-star reviews is using quality equipment. Cummins is the best in the market for home generators. So I started getting more with generators. Then I found another need that a lot of homes in San Antonio are all electric, but they don't have natural gas and they can't have propane, so a generator is pretty much pointless. So I was like, okay, well, let me get into battery backup solutions. So I became the second largest dealer for Briggs & Stratton, which is a household name. Everyone knows Briggs & Stratton. It's well known, been around for years. They have better warranties on their battery backups than any of the competitors from Tesla, LG, Generac. So, but not many people know that it's there, and their prices are half the cost of these other competitors. So I can do a customer that's spending, $60,000 on a solar panel system for their house. Now they can spend $60,000 with me and get solar and battery backup. Kill two birds with one stone, save on utility bills, have battery backup when the power goes out. There's a lot more versatility with it. And now I can also, and so once I did the battery backup, then I was like, wait a minute, I need a solar division to be able to charge those batteries. That way they're not paying CPS to charge these batteries. And so hence Evenflow Solar coming up probably this month, if not September, should be going live. So we'll be the first company in Texas that offer a true home and repair company that does electrical, plumbing, HVAC, generators, battery backup solutions, and solar. So we'll be the first of our kind, and we'll see what happens.
What I love about, we were even talking about it with the time off, is you sound like you take the time to build up the foundation of each of these branches before you go and start a new one.
Yes, ma'am.
What does that look like?
So it's meeting the right people. You find a niche first thing. Next thing you got to do, okay, let's see who is installing these solar division. I got introduced from a solar sales rep to a guy who basically he's an investor. He has his hands in like 6 different solar companies here in San Antonio. He basically shows you how to get it going and goes from there. What I found, and he teaches you everything. And so as talking to him and learning from him, I told him, hey, I'm not trying to partner up with anyone. I want to make sure I have a foundation, like you said, to build this division. And he goes, okay, well, let's just start off simple. He goes, you go sell a job, and this is what my cost is. And finding out his cost to solar to what people are charging for solar is ridiculous.
Yeah, it is.
Literally for
There's a big margin.
Oh, but most of it is because a lot of the sales reps are independent, and there's no cap on what you can charge. They charge whatever they want.
Wow.
So they're taking these.
And there's government programs and stuff too that help fund that, or there's
CPS ended their rebates. Come to find out. So solar now that CPS when CPS had offered rebates, then the salesman had to cap it because they couldn't go over the rebate. Wow. Now the rebates are gone. It's the Wild West. So a system that should cost $25,000 installed, these companies are selling them for $50,000-$60,000 because they're paying 20-30% commission. That's another thing that has grown my business. Is we're the first service company in San Antonio, larger gauntlet company that none of our staff is commission paid or commission driven. All our guys are hourly or salary, so they have no incentive to go in there and sell a customer something they don't need. We go in there, find the problem. Hey, ma'am, Mrs. Jones, here's your 5 options. What would you like to do? You tell me what you want to do, and that's what we're going to do. And we're not going to try to upsell you things you don't need. Now, we are going to make recommendations as a professional, but at the end of the day, we care about your budget. We want your repeat business because we find their marketing, as you know, is so expensive to get good marketing. It's easier to make one customer happy and then use you for 5 other different divisions and keep the business in one home. I can kill 5 birds with one stone. So, and then word of mouth. That person tells their neighbor. They go on Facebook. They go on Instagram. All those good. We push on reviews, really hard on reviews because
I can tell with over 1,000 of them.
Yeah, it's what grows a business, and people nowadays have gotten smart, especially with inflation being so high. They don't want to spend $30,000 for an AC system, but if they are going to spend $30,000, they want to make sure it's done right. They're happy, the communication was good, and they're going to tell their neighbors, "Hey, I had 3 estimates. This Evenflow is the one. They weren't the cheapest, they weren't the most expensive, but they had the best value." And that's what I care about, is the value from my technicians who care about what they do, from my CSRs who answer the phone every step in between, because our slogan is that we guarantee your service will flow smoothly from start to finish. And we stand by that. We want to make sure that people have been ripped off by contractors so much in, past 10, 15 years, ever since the industry went commission driven, that now people are aware that, hey, they especially with HVAC, they already have their guard up. Hey, this guy's here to sell me something. You know how many times we get phone calls that, hey, my system's been shot, I have no AC right now, and we go out there and it's a simple capacitor, literally a $500 repair, and they're like, oh, this company tried to sell me a whole brand new system. I'm like, well, ma'am, your system is old, needs to be replaced, but that's not the issue at hand. And earning that trust has not only skyrocketed sales, but skyrocketed our reviews.
So what motivated you to actually start your company in the first place? Why not just go get a job as an HVAC guy?
My family. So my previous company I worked for, I started right out of high school. I was 18. It's a larger franchise, and I was working there, but I realized shortly I was only ever going to be a technician. And I met my better half, Christina Tucker. She's my better half, and fell in love and decided I wanted to start a family. And I realized things I wanted for my kids. I want land. I want a bigger house. I want my kids to be able to play outside, not worry about all the bad things the world has to offer. And I was like, I can only do that by opening up my own service company. And then from there, it grew to I started hiring young, and I'm like, I realized that these technicians, they became like my kids, my family. And I was like, I want better for my family. I want better for my kids. So Evenflow has basically went from a business to a family. I treat all my employees like my family, and I want the best for them. I want them to be able to have the same ambitions that I have. I want them to go buy a nice home for their kids, have the nice cars for their kids, great education, because, private education is super expensive. I want to be able to give my technicians the life that they want if they wanted to open up their own business, but doing it working for me.
It's like opportunity, right?
Yep.
Knowing that you can have more opportunities.
Yeah.
And it sounds like from growing your team, growing your divisions, everything that you do seems based on relationships.
Yes.
And deepening, strengthening those relationships. So what goes into building those relationships that have gotten you 1,000 5-star reviews, 5 divisions to your company in 5 years?
So at my old company, we had training every morning. Every company has, they call it sales training.
Mm-hmm.
And every morning I found it was literally like, hey, y'all need to do better. Y'all need to sell more. And this is how you sell. It's always about sell, sell, sell. And I get it. Everything in life is sales. You're selling yourself. People buy from people they like. So I was like, let's take a step backward. Just try something different. I met this young gentleman. I think he's 25, 26. His name's Christopher. And he was a hungry salesman, but he was good with people. I was like, hey, I want you to take all over my training courses. And I was like, but I don't want trained sales. And he got confused for a second. Like, wait a minute, I'm a salesman. What do you mean? I was like, I want you to teach and train mindset and self-development. So every Tuesday and Thursday, my whole team, we do morning meditation for like 10 minutes where we just breathing exercises. And I'm trying to make my guys the best inside the workplace and outside the workplace. Because I truly believe if you are a good person and you take care of yourself, you'll take care of the people around you. And so we train on mindset. Mindset's powerful. If you have a negative mind, you're going to have negative actions. So I train all my guys, hey, you're going to run into problems. There's going to be bad customers. There's also going to be a lot more good customers. And it's how you I was like, remember, going into a home, no one's happy that something broke. No one's happy that they have to spend money. But if you can make that bad experience a good experience by communicating with them, talking to them, treating them like a person, not an ATM, that's a huge difference. And my team, like that morning training, I mean, it's changed me. We watch motivational videos. We talk about each other's lives. We open forum, communicate how we're feeling, how we're doing. Because like I said, like a family, you have to communicate with your staff. You have to know how your staff is doing. And I care about my staff.
How long are these meetings? You do
about
them
an hour and a half. We do it on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Okay.
And as we grow, we're going to have probably more days, but different divisions. Because I don't want to get so big where they still don't get that one-on-one. So, maybe it'll get to a point where it'll probably be a division a day. Monday, one division as we grow. But right now we're doing it all together. But I've seen it really change my guys when we start implementing that mindset and self-development and showing that we are investing into their future. I've seen a whole night and day difference, especially with reviews. I have this one gentleman, young kid, his name is Raymond. He, during COVID, because he got home, he decided to use the money you get from COVID from those checks and put himself through school. He went and got himself a HVAC license. And if you go on our website and you look up our reviews, you'll see his name, Raymond. And I'm like, this kid is just killing it. He's part of our maintenance crew. He does a lot of our AC maintenance because we got a contract with CPS, and now we're doing CPS's all their maintenance for all their customers. And he's getting 5-star on almost every house he touches because and you read the reviews, great communication, talked to us, explained everything he was doing. I'm like, and that shows me that whatever I'm doing right because I'm gonna get emotional because I care about these guys so much and
leadership.
And it's proven it's our growth. And yeah, we have hard times just like every service company, marketing, especially like our plumbing division, not doing as well as it should. But a lot of our friends own big companies, and we talk to them, and they're slow too. It's the market. So you got to keep shifting and not do the same thing twice. Like the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. You got to keep changing. And I believe that I can change the way people look at service companies, and I can change the way people look at service technicians. As true professionals, be a professional of your trade. Don't
be a pioneer in your industry.
Yep.
Well, and I think I know we're about them, but I think it's interesting because you had a dream of a big life for your children. So you started this company, but you did not focus on the money. It sounds like you focused on the relationships with the people. How has that impacted the revenue? Because I know most of the reason those sales trainings are every morning that drive everybody down is because people are stressed about money.
We've doubled 100% in size every year. We went from our first year, me, myself, in the back of the truck, I think I did $700,000. And then next year we did 1.7 million. And then we've doubled every year in size since then without the hard pressure sales and all that stuff. And people ask me, well, what about me as an owner? I was like, most owners are supposed to take home 10%. I think last year I took home 2%, if that. My truck, my daily driver, and the truck that I drive is a 2012 Dodge Ram, paid for with 240,000 miles. The house I live in, I bought when I was 21. I don't live outside my means. I care about my, I invest all my money back in my company, because there will be a time that I'll invest into me. But right now, I think if I take care of my team, my staff, my organization, it will take care of me in the future. But right now, I want to make sure I get my staff where they need to be, because at the end of the day, we're a family, and I'm not selfish. I don't want to be selfish, and I've seen the greed in the industry. I've seen business owners, they get to the $10 million, $15, $20 million range business, and they just start, buying cars, buying houses, but their team is still, driving a beat up Toyota Corolla to work. It's like, well, why don't they deserve something nice? Take care of your people, and your people will take care of you. But so many service companies don't do that, and I see it firsthand. So I'm trying to change the way, because I think when I get to a point where people are jumping ship from the other company to come work for me, other companies are gonna be, hey, we have to change, because this young kid, I'm 34 years old, I'm one of the youngest service companies in San Antonio. He's taking over the market. How's he doing this? Well, he's doing it because he's taking care of his people, not using his people as just numbers. So,
I think there's some pioneering going on there as well, which is really good. If folks want to get in touch with you, George, how do they find your company?
Google will be the best. Google. Our website is Google Evenflow. It will pop up. We're the first ones that pop up on Google. There's Facebook, Instagram, all social media platforms. We got commercials all over the place on Amazon Prime. We've teamed up with Amazon to do marketing there, so you'll see us on our commercial on Amazon and all those good things. And
nice.
Yeah, so it's been a roller coaster, but it's been a fun one.
Excellent. Well, thanks a lot, George. It's great to talk.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming in. All right, that's going to be it for us. Just a quick reminder for folks out there, you can catch all the social media and podcast versions of our show on our website at satalkradio.com. That's going to be it for us. Thanks a lot. You guys have a great week.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.